Tonight, the mother of a man murdered on the interstate says she forgives the gunman even as she comes to terms with her son's death. Fred O'Bannon was killed Friday.
Okay, that's another liberal thing that we're seeing now. The immediate forgiving, especially when it's a son man. So we see this on both sides, regardless of race, when it comes to these liberals. The forgiving immediately, which is not a Christian thing. It's not a Christian thing. I don't think that's a Christian thing. I think that's more of a criminal loving. It's kind of like a product of criminal loving, like this obsession with criminals and allowing criminals to, just run the world and run the country. So we see that on both sides. I don't want to just make that seem like that's just something that glacier gliders do when their loved one's killed by a sun man, or what sun people do when their loved one's killed by a glacier glider. We see that when it's sun on sun violence and glider on glider violence, Brito on glider violence, yada, yada, yada. But I just find it striking that the immediate forgiveness, it just like, give the person who died some dignity. Like, immediately, like, I had a hamster, right? Story time. I had a hamster named Handy back in 1988. And, this is when I lived in Northeast. So I lived lived in an apartment building. And all the guys, we were all close. We were all tight, all the young guys. I was 10 years old at this time. So my mom took a trip. She took me to Disney World in Kissimmee, Florida, I think. And before we left, I had to, get somebody to watch my hamster. So I got my boy Don to watch my hamster. So long story short, we go to Disney World, blah, blah, blah. We come back. I go to his house and I'm like, all right, where's my hamster? Where's Handy? And he gave me that look. Handy was dead, man. Handy died. I was mad. I didn't forgive Don for a long time. Ooh, I was mad. There was no forgiveness. So this woman's son dies and just instantly, I forgive him. Like, God, give your son some dignity. It's okay to be mad for 5 to 10 minutes. Jesus.
Tonight, the mother of a man murdered on the interstate says she forgives the gunman even as she comes to terms with her son's death. Fred O'Bannon was killed Friday.
Police say Kayshawn Stewart then shot LMPD Sergeant Chris Lane. Stewart is out of the hospital and was in court for the first time today. WLKY's Gladys Batista spoke to O'Bannon's mother, who says she will not allow the hurt to harden her heart.
It was last Friday when Freddie O'Bannon left his home to come to work here on I-264, but he never made it back home. Today I spoke to his mother about the horrific events of that night and what she's thankful for in the 37 years she had her son.
He's okay. He's no longer suffering. He didn't suffer. He's good. So if he can be at peace, I gotta be at peace.
Nah. Something ain't right about that. This is a coping mechanism. This ain't authentic, man. This ain't authentic. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what you say. You can tell, well, I know somebody. You could tell me 100 people did this. It's not authentic. Some people may be doing it because of religion. Adherence to a strict religious doctrine that tells you to forgive your enemies. Some people may be doing it to dismiss it so that they don't have to deal with it. just because have not just immediately forgiving the person and just letting it go is not dealing with it, and it's going to come back to her. Those emotions are rattling around like a pinball machine in there. She's just ignoring them. I just don't believe this. Hit 1 if you agree with me. Hit 2 if you disagree with me. I don't believe that this woman feels that. No way in the world I believe that.
He's okay. He's no longer suffering. He didn't suffer. He's good. So if he can be at peace, I gotta be at peace.
It's that kind of peace getting Anita O'Bannon through one of the worst times of her life.
I'm coming to grips with it. You know, I love him, miss him.
She tells me her son, Fred O'Bannon, was a hardworking father of 5 who was growing into a better man every day.
Okay, so he was growing into a better man every day. So he probably was, had a checkered past, and I'm suspecting a rap sheet longer than the CVS receipt. So he may have been, some kind of tough guy or something, or some kind of, hothead, or, just a hood figure, hood booger, whatever that, she feels like. Maybe she knows that he's been through a lot of stuff, near death situations or altercations, or been in a lot of high risk behavior in his lifetime, and maybe finally even he struck out. But still, I don't believe that she forgives the guy that quick.
She tells me her son, Fred O'Bannon, was a hardworking father of 5 who was growing into a better man every day, even getting baptized 3 weeks ago. He died while he was working early Friday morning on the Waterston near the Dixie Highway overpass.
I'd rather you call me and tell me he got hit by a truck while he was up there. He got hit by a car. But to call me and tell me he had been shot at work, on the expressway, not on the street, not in front of a club, not anywhere else, but at work.
Police say 25-year-old Keyshawn Stewart walked up to O'Bannon and shot him, then turned the gun on LMPD Sergeant Chris Lane, who was sitting in his cruiser, and shot him in the face.
He did what? So this wasn't some kind of beef or... Listen, before Waukesha or Waukesha happened, the Christmas parade massacre that just went away, that story like shriveled in the hot sun. That story was like, that story just disappeared. Wow. But anyways, there was a incident last week in Waukesha, Wisconsin, to jog your memory. Son man runs into the dancing grannies at a parade, kills a bunch of them, also kills a 6-year-old. So anyway, this spring, I started telling you guys, those of you who subscribe to the channel, the roads are getting dangerous. And a lot of you guys in the comment section were like, yeah, I've seen it. Some of you guys were like, this just stuff that happened. I said, the roads are getting dangerous. Since the summer of Floyd, the Blackistanian spring, the emboldening of criminals, the lessening of penalties, Philadelphia banning minor traffic stops, that becoming a national thing that's being proposed in all major democratically run cities. I told you the roads would get really dangerous. And then what happened? You had an NFL player going 156 miles per hour, kill a woman. A few weeks later, you got a son man run over a squad of dancing grannies at a Christmas parade. Okay? Now I'm telling you something else. Random shootings, like I'm talking about, just like, we're not talking about gang initiation, because that's something that you're going to see a lot. Gang, that was a gang initiation. When gang initiations, they make you go kill somebody in the gang that they're beefing with. No gang is dumb enough to make you, to have a guy who's willing to kill and go make him kill somebody random, as opposed to kill somebody that they're one of their rivals. So all 99.9% of gang initiations are done against rivals of said gang. But somehow weirdos and cornballs on YouTube always throw that in the comment section anytime there's an unsolved case. But you're going to start seeing random sunmen just walking up on people and blowing their brains out. Sun teens as well. I'm telling you, you're going to realize that the only thing that was keeping them in check was the allegedly racist system of laws and legal and judicial system. The specter of penalty, of consequence, repercussions. Now that you've taken that away, you're going to, I promise you guys, you're going to start seeing that more and more. It's random sunmen walking up on people and blowing their brains out for no reason at all.
Police say 25-year-old Keyshawn Stewart walked up to O'Bannon and shot him, then turned the gun on LMPD Sergeant Chris Lane, who was sitting in his cruiser, and shot him in the face. It would be the injured officer's next decision that this mother will forever be grateful for.
Not just for yourself, and mainly for Fred. Y'all went after him. And y'all got him. And to know that was done in minutes of him being killed, it does my heart good.
The officer shot Stewart twice. Being rolled into court in a wheelchair, Stewart went before a judge Wednesday to face charges of murder and attempted murder of a police officer.
You've already ruined 3 families. And I'm so glad that you can't ruin any more.
And part of what helps this hurting mother find closure is her resolve to find peace with the man charged with taking her son's life.
I'm upset. I'm mad at you. But I gotta forgive you.
Reporting.
I told you. I just didn't believe that. No. I didn't believe that. She looked like old church ladies. They'll hate you for 50 years if you parked in their parking space in the church parking lot, or you criticized their potato salad at a church function. So, ain't no way.
I'm upset. I'm mad at you. But I gotta forgive you.
Reporting in Shively, Gladys Bautista, WOKY News.
And police have not given an update on Sergeant Lane's condition. O'Bannon's mother says his services are set for Saturday.
Begin with that exclusive interview with the mother of that 13-year-old boy who was shot on his way to school. Video shows that child struggling in the very moments after a neighbor approached the boy and then shot him in the neck.
It happened on East 233rd Street in the Wakefield section, and we have learned the gunman is no stranger to police. He's identified as 36-year-old Hubert Wiggs, and he is facing numerous charges, including attempted murder and assault.
So what made this son Brito go walk up on this 13-year-old and just shoot him? I promise you that this type of crime is going to not just escalate, but like it's going to It's going to be like the roads. Like, remember the spring I told you the roads were getting named? Now, there's all type of things going on the roads. The only thing that was keeping the society civil, that's the thing we don't know. And this would be any society. The only thing keeping the society civil is law and order. Okay? It's the only thing. Nothing else is keeping this society civil. And I know you're saying, but if you kill some, in most of these democratically run cities, the clearance rate, which is the amount of the murders that they have solved, where they have someone being charged, someone in custody, XYZ, are so low, you wouldn't believe it, man. I can't even tell you, you're going to be like, you're lying. But the clearance rates in these cities are very low. So everybody knows people who are killers. I know killers, bunch of killers. People have killed people, never faced a day in jail. Never even got questioned by a detective. Okay? I know some who have been questioned by detectives, but it didn't lead to anything. I know others who've been arrested, and then the charges were dropped because there wasn't enough evidence. You know, and all the way down the line. But they're on the streets. That's what I'm saying. And when you live in these communities and you see all these guys on the streets, it's always been like that in the hood, or in the Blackistan. But now you combine that with the whole wokeopolis and the pro-criminal movement. Both factors. Now you have twin factors. And it just gets worse, man. And a lot of crazy nut jobs and a lot of dudes that just want to kill somebody just because, they want to kill somebody. They're coming out from their crevices.
The gunman is no stranger to police. He's identified as 36-year-old Hubert Wiggs, and he is facing numerous charges, including attempted murder and assault. Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson live at the scene with the very latest. Kimberly.
Well, David, a video game fanatic who is a good student at Manhattan Business Academy in Chelsea. In fact, this morning, that's where Kamani Garrett was heading. He was
a little son teen that goes to Manhattan Business Academy. Okay. So Manhattan Business Academy. Wow. Pretty good school for New York City. B's across the board in all the categories that they use to rank schools. "95% of the students are proficient in reading, and 87% of the kids are proficient in math." Now, you guys know that, we cover these schools. Look, Baltimore, they have the 13 predominantly Sun schools in Baltimore. They don't have any students proficient in math. None. It's not even a percentage. They don't have any. So this is a great school that this kid goes to. I'm sure he had to test. You have to take a test to get into this school. It's not like every kid, just because you live in the neighborhood, you're zoned for that school. No, this is the type of school where you have to test to get in.
Well, David, a video game fanatic who is a good student at Manhattan Business Academy in Chelsea. In fact, this morning, that's where Kamani Garrett was heading. He was walking right here on his way to the train. In this exclusive interview, his mom tells me the next thing she knows, she's getting a call at work saying her son's been shot.
He said he was walking, and then the guy just shot him.
Abigail's son, Kamani Garrett. There you see the 13-year-old staggering here along East 223rd Street in the Bronx. He had just been shot in the neck. In this exclusive interview, his mother tells me it was just after 7 this morning.
So this kid's getting up at 7 to go to school. So that lets you know that, he's in a good school because you have to. He's not going to the local school. He's traveling far to get to his school. He's not going to school in the Bronx. He's going to school in Manhattan because, he doesn't go to the local school, public school. He goes to a great school because he's a good kid and he's really smart. And of all the people to get shot by this psycho, this really tears me up, man. Reminds me of Calculator. Hit one if you remember the story of Calculator. I'll put the link to that video in the chat. The story of Calculator, another young, very good kid in New York is just senselessly gunned down. So, Calculator died, but this kid survived, so.
His mother tells me it was just after 7 this morning. Police say at the same time, a 36-year-old man there at the bottom of your screen who lives here in this house, he was out front acting erratically, waving around a .38 caliber revolver. Out of nowhere, the man allegedly pointed the weapon at Kamani and fired.
He said the man couldn't even look at him or whatever in his eye. He didn't look at him in his eye. He didn't know that he got shot. He thought it was a firework.
Kamani's 15-year-old sister, Sinai, is talking only to Eyewitness News.
I was supposed to leave with him, but I didn't have everything together, so I left like 2 minutes after him. So when I got up the block, it was like nothing there, so I didn't see anything.
Bleeding and in shock, Kamani stumbled away looking for help.
The first person he asked for help didn't want to help him.
The first person he asked for help didn't want to help him. Now, you know that gliders is the worst problem we got in this racist police and the Proud Boy. Listen, this 13-year-old boy shot in at the first person didn't want to help. The issues that you struggle with, son person, are in your own community. And of course, they're not going to be fixed because you won't address them. But newsflash.
The first person he asked for help didn't want to help him. So then he asked somebody else for help, and then they helped him. So that shit hurt my soul. It's like that I could have been burying my son.
Who turns 14 on Monday. Police say when they arrived at the scene just off Paulding Avenue, the suspect was still there, and here in this video, you see officers taking him into custody. As for Kamani, the bullet entered and exited his neck without hitting any major veins or arteries. He's expected to...
Wow. What a lucky kid, man. Hopefully this kid does something special, man. Hopefully we see this kid. I'd like to follow this kid through the years, man. I'm sure the news channel will. I'm sure they'll follow this kid through the years as he, embarks on, high school and college, starting his life, his family and things like that. And listen, he still ain't out the woods, though. This kid's not out of the woods. He's 14. He's got at least, I guess, make it to 18 where he can go to college, but he's in the stand. He's not out of the woods yet.
He's expected to pull through.
Straight home after school. I have no problems with him. He's just a video game fanatic or on his phone. That's all he does.
And that suspect, his name is Hubert Wiggs. He is now facing several charges, including attempted murder. He was actually out on parole, tied to separate weapons charges. As for Kamani, his mom tells me this afternoon he did have to have surgery, but again is expected to pull through.